The bamboo answered first. In the eastern quarter of an old Han market town, a gate watchman shut his mouth halfway through supper, when the wind turned wet and green. He told me the 4 symbols were never named carelessly after dusk. Direction listened. I walked the road outside Luoyang in early spring, where cart ruts held rainwater and the millet fields shone like fish scales under cloud. At each gate of the outer wall stood faded colors. East was blue-green. West was white. South burned red. North sank black. Farther south, beyond the Han River crossings, shrine terraces climbed a pine slope in Chu country. Incense ash gathered in damp corners, and swallows turned above the eaves. People there said the sky had quarters, the way a house had rooms. Each room had its keeper. An old reader of almanacs in Nanyang spread a cracked bamboo chart before me and touched 4 names with his nail. Qing Long, Bai Hu, Ju Kui, Xuan Wu, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise. He said they were stars, seasons, winds, and presences together. In other places, the names shifted slightly in the mouth. One temple novice called the Vermilion Bird a fire pheasant, and a ferryman swore the Black Tortoise was no tortoise at all, only a snake coiled around winter. Yet every telling kept the 4 directions intact. The first full account came from the 7th year of Yongping, as copied in a family notebook near Luoyang. A gate soldier named Ren slept poorly after spring storms. One dawn, he saw scaled cloud unroll over the eastern tower. The tiles sweated cold beneath his hand. Ren said the shape had no body that stayed still. Horns formed, then river whiskers, then a long back made from rain itself. When it bent across the gate, sparrows dropped silent under the eaves. He carried that silence for 3 nights and would not face east alone. His younger brother mocked him until autumn. Then, while posted at the western wall, the brother heard claws scrape stone above the parapet. He smelled iron first, sharp as blood on a coin. He glimpsed a striped flank, larger than any horse. The brother left service before winter ended. His wife told me he woke choking whenever reed mats brushed the wall in wind. He said the white tiger had looked down once, without hurry, and that one glance felt heavier than armor laid across the chest. From such accounts, a pattern gathered. The Azure Dragon came with spring damp, low thunder, and the smell of turned earth after first rain. Wells clouded with silt. Roof beams wept. Children were called indoors before twilight reached the eastern lanes. The white tiger belonged to autumn metal. Dogs refused western courtyards. Harness rings struck each other without a hand touching them. Hunters left arrows unfeathered after sunset, because an arrow given shape at the wrong hour was said to invite striped shadow across the threshold. People watched ash. In market towns of Chu, kitchen smoke sometimes lifted straight upward though no wind moved. Then came a red sheen in the clouds, faint as cinnabar on old silk. No one pointed, fingers lowered at once. The north held the hardest taboo. In winter, no one tapped on water jars after dark. Elders said the Black Tortoise heard hollow sounds through clay and answered from wells, cisterns, and river ice. When a snake was found asleep beside a basin, the basin was emptied in silence. In Shandong, I heard the 4 symbols tied closely to military camps and tomb roads. Stone animals stood before burial mounds under lichen and frost. There the white tiger guarded the dead with a harsher face, while the Azure Dragon seemed nearer to banners than rain. In the lower Yangtze country, painters and ritual masters spoke more often of constellations. The Vermilion Bird stretched across summer heavens, and court robes borrowed its color. Yet, boatmen along the marshes still described a cry overhead before storms, like silk tearing far above reeds. At Wudang slopes, where mountain paths smelled of wet moss and lamp oil, the Black Tortoise changed most. Taoist men told of Xuan Wu as a perfected northern lord. Woodcut sellers still painted the tortoise and snake together. Villagers kept the older fear and avoided northern springs at night. The oldest source I found named them among heavenly patterns rather than roadside apparitions. In copies of the Shiji and older star manuals shown to me by a county teacher, the four marked the quarters of the sky. Yet glosses in the margins treated them like living guardians. Another voice came from Shaoshenji, where strange correspondences between heaven and earth were gathered with sober hands. Though the book did not linger on every village fear, I heard. It preserved the old habit of meeting stars as powers with tempers, colors, and reach. What the road taught me was simple. People did not speak of the four symbols as ornaments painted on gates. They spoke as farmers, soldiers, ferrymen, widows. Each had felt one quarter of the world pressed close through weather, animal cry, metal scent, or water gone still. I carried these names from gate to gate until they sat in my mouth like directions given by the dead. If a road in the old provinces had 4 watches of sky upon it, what name do you not speak after dark?